Finish him!
Torres inbound on your location. Hold tight. She'll get you home.
Fatality!
Welcome back to another Division 2 build guide. My name is LtBuzzLitebeer and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be taking some of the new Title Update 15 mechanics and gear pieces up to just extreme levels, as this big blue build is just freaking mental. Not every agent can actively seek out a hunter and survive their melee attacks without the use of a shield, but like you saw in that intro footage, that's exactly what I did. Also during this video, I'm going to be showing you two of the new exotics that I used for this setup. In case you aren't yet a sub, please take a moment to smash that big, beautiful subscribe button and make sure to ring the bell to stay up to date on all my latest uploads. Let's go. So this big blue build is all about getting up close and personal with even the nastiest of enemies, all while drawing their aggro, allowing our teammates an easier time of combat. Now with that in mind, I am using the survivalist specialization mainly for the elite defense talent for that plus 10% increased protection from elites, and the survivalist tactical link, which grants all my group members plus 10% bonus damage to targets with status effects. Now, if Survivalist is not your thing, Gunner Spec is also a solid choice for the plus 10% armor for killing enemies, and if you are struggling to hit headshots for the Heartbreaker gear set pulse damage bonuses, you may also want to consider Technician for the linked laser pointer weapon mod. Whatever you choose, all of these three will work just fine. Now on to the build, and before I show you the pieces, for this specific setup, you're going to need two of the new exotics, which can either be found randomly in exotic caches, or by completing your season reward track, which is what I did. The Catharsis mask is achieved once you hit level 90 on your season track, while the blue screen LMG is awarded at level 85. Okay, so back to the build, and the Catharsis mask is just crazy. It will always drop with armor as the core attribute, along with incoming repairs or health, and then armor regen. Now I've gone for max sustain by adding on a protection from elites mod just to finish off my build in this piece. What makes Catharsis so strong is the vicious cycle talent, whereby taking damage it builds stacks up to a cap of 30, each stack grants plus 1% weapon damage. Taking damage at max stacks triggers a purge, removing all stacks and status effects, and then dropping a healing cloud, which restores plus 5% of max armor for 10 seconds to all allies in the cloud. Like, what? You gain damage output as you absorb damage up to 30% weapon damage, and then you get a healing cloud for you and your allies once the purge is triggered. With this mask and this setup, Catharsis is just begging you to charge right up to the heaviest of bosses and essentially face tank them while building up damage stacks. Moving on to the holster, and I am using the Ever Ready holster as part of the 4 pieces of Heartbreaker gear set we will be using. Make sure to have armor as the core attribute, which it will always roll with, along with armor regen as the attribute. Next up are the knee pads, and these are the Aggressor Heartbreaker knee pads, once again with armor and armor regen, which I need to work on optimizing. Jumping over to the body armor, and you will want to use the unflinching vest for your third piece of Heartbreaker. Now, I'm not going to give you the full rundown of the gear description and the talent, but we want the chest piece for the max BPM secondary talent that allows us to build up to 100 stacks versus the 50 without the chest piece. As with the other gear pieces, I am running armor, which comes standard on this piece, along with armor regen, and I've added on another protection from elites mod. The Heartbreaker Burdenless Pack is the 4th and final piece of this gear set, unlocking the Heartstopper gear set talent, allowing us to build both damage and bonus armor stacks. The backpack features the secondary talent of Cold, which increases total bonus armor gained per stack of Heartstopper from 1 to 2%. So we are already starting with pretty high base armor on this build, then we're able to gain up to 100 stacks due to the chest piece, and then the armor bonus is doubled by the backpack Cold Talent. As with the other pieces, I am using armor, which comes standard as a core attribute, along with armor regen and my third protection from elites mod. For the gloves, I've elected to use the contractor's gloves for the extra LMG damage to pair up with the blue screen LMG, and then on top of that we've also got plus 8% damage to armor, which is a multiplicative bonus type. I've also chosen to roll off weapon damage for armor just to beef up our survivability that little extra amount. Next up are the weapons, and I'm going to show you my secondary weapon first. Now, the ACS-12 shotgun is what you want to build up stacks incredibly fast. And by the way, this is not the named rock and roll version, which by the way I have on my other Heartbreaker build, but I'm using this one as I wanted to be able to recal the weapon talent. So this is a standard ACS-12, and I've experimented around with different weapon talents like close and personal, perpetuation, but you know, I eventually settled on optimist to build damage as I just chug through the shotgun rounds. Now, you only get 2 mods on the ACS, and I've gone with crit chance on both. And here is where you would want to attach the technician laser pointer if you wanted that extra cushion for pulsing targets. After I've stacked up a bunch of bonus damage and armor with the ACS, I then swap over to the exotic blue screen LMG. Now, this exotic comes with damage to targets out of cover as the native weapon attribute, and mine has damage to armor as well. Now, the talent for this weapon is really lengthy, and I'm not going to read it word for word, but essentially Disruptor rounds apply status effects via a stacking system. Pulse, disrupt, disorient effects are achieved by landing shots on target, which can then spread to nearby enemies. Now, you can also trigger the spread by activating a non-shield skill, or if you kill those marked targets. For my skills, I like to run with a revive hive just in case, you know, the shit hits the fan and I have no exit strategy. And for my second skill, since I'm using survivalist, I like the Mender Seeker Mine, but I've also messed around with the Firefly, Decoy, and Pulse. These really have minimal effects on your overall build. Back by request, here's my Shade Watch, and once you are all maxed out, you will receive 10% bonuses for defensive attributes like total armor and health bonuses for each level up. Overall, this build is not set up to be dishing out the most damage, but you know, on the flip side, it's not a slouch either, especially when you have Catharsis building up damage stacks and combo along with all the damage stacks with the Heartbreaker gear set. But what this build really excels at, what it was built for, was drawing huge amounts of aggro and staying within feet of even the nastiest and hardest hitting enemies. Remember that NPCs are ultra aggressive in this game, and if you invade their space, they're normally just going to stop shooting and just run over to you and attempt to melee you to death. Now, while all of this is going on, you are of course shooting them in the face with the ACS to build up your damage and bonus armor, and then quickly swapping over to the blue screen to further hit them with all these status effects, and it just hampers their ability to wage war. Once I swap over to the blue screen, I personally like to strafe and hipfire while engaging in CQC, and the overall effects it has on enemies can be devastating. And in case you're wondering, yes, once this build is all stacked up, it can even tank Chungas on legendary difficulty, so whatever you do, don't sleep on this big blue build. If you have any questions, please leave them for me in the comments section below. Remember to smash that sub button and ring the bell to receive all my future upload alerts. If you could take a few seconds more to rate and or share this video, it would be appreciated. You can find and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and over on my community Discord server, now approaching 5,000 members strong. Links to all my socials in the video description below. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.